Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, today we actually have a very interesting video, and before I actually get to the playing bit, I have to explain something. First and foremost, huge shout out to White Mummy. He's a guy who's done a lot of the graphics, including the frame of my face cam and a bunch of other stuff for the channel. And he messaged me today with a very interesting thing. And that interesting thing is ability to make somebody Horseman of Apocalypse twice. Now we know that you can make two different champions Horseman of Apocalypse if you use two Apocalypses. But you also have ability to double up on Horseman abilities for one fight. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but my theory is more or less in a way that after you exit a fight, you can carry over up to, let's say, one counter. Let's look at it similar to the persistent ability, and you're not meant to have more than one. But if you activate it as an before the fight and then enter into the fight with a Horseman of Apocalypse, it kind of stacks up. Anyways, it can be kind of confusing. But yes, it does appear that you can double dip on Horseman abilities if you have two Apocalypses on your team, but it only works for one fight. And for the following fight, it seemingly resets just your standard default one. And I'm going to try and demonstrate that in Realm of Legends. Now, neither of the three fights Wolverine will be at class advantage or disadvantage. I have made Wolverine Horseman of Apocalypse already, as you can see on top there. And for the first fight, I'm gonna go in and we can see if I can best Realm of Legends Wolverine as is. We're gonna check out the numbers, and either way, whether I can or cannot, we're gonna go and do the next fight, activating another Horseman of Apocalypse ability to see what happens and how the numbers change. So let's head in first in this one and pay attention to like crits, critical bleeds, stuff like that, and I'm gonna try and do the same basically. Right, so we can see that we are doing quite well to start off. So base hit damage would not change, it's the special attack damage that would, thanks to the prowess. And also ability accuracy is a thing that changes, but it's quite hard to monitor, to be honest. So we crit for 17k on the final hit of level 2, and didn't really notice the first two hits. I think they are about the same, but I don't know exactly how high. So let's go in, let's see which one's crit here. So we have 4, 12, and 17. Cool, so we have like a baseline how hard this 5-star rank 4 Wolverine hits with one Horseman of Apocalypse ability. We are actually plowing through this Wolverine quite well here. Again, the same 12 and 17 Ks on specials. So bleeds are kind of like proportional to that damage, which is fair. He's at 20%. I'm about to hit Assassin's range. Very straightforward. So we had 12 point something and 17 point something. Keep in mind, Wolverine's also a lower health pool in case the hit counter doesn't quite reflect the damage increase. Right now, we have Wolverine, we have Horseman of Apocalypse ability active, right? So this should be the interesting thing. Let's activate Horseman of Apocalypse from my 5-star, and let's bring in my Wolverine, who is already a Horseman. And let's see whether the numbers change and whether the fight goes different. You can see that we have two promises and two of those Horseman icons there as well. I actually want to take a screenshot for this. Whoopsie. I want to take a screenshot for this. For thumbnail. Because I didn't want to redo this whole double thing. Anyway, so important thing to see is whether the numbers will change as well on special attacks. So it should... This is very funny. None of that crit, though. That's a bit weird. Or unfortunate. But it only apparently works for one fight. So it's very important that we actually get some critical hits in here. Yeah, we can see it was 15 and 20k, so we had increase in special attack damage, and that also means that we have increase in our ability accuracy, which gives us more regen, which gives us more bleed and stuff like that. So we did see that the numbers did change. Quite, well, fair enough. We have 17 crit on first hit, which used to be 15k, and 20k crit on the last part of it. And now we're going to go up against Hulk, where once again we do not have any class relationships, but it will, as far as I'm aware, gonna fall off, and we're not gonna have the double prowess anymore. We're just gonna have it for a single fight. Yeah, there we go. So we can see that we only have one prowess, one of those Horseman icons, and yeah, it only works for one fight. So it's definitely not a practical solution. Definitely not something you can do every day, day to day, or, well, possibly ever. Might not be too practical if you need for something, but there could potentially be some scenarios where it's worth doing it. Maybe, let's say, on an Alliance War boss, if you're using a Mutant for something, surely giving him 2 promise instead of 1 or none would be a decent option, considering that your teammates can place those abilities for you. It could happen. And yeah, again, this is definitely not overly practical thing, but it certainly is quite interesting. At least I happen to think so. So, before we finish the video, let's just recap what happened, how exactly it works, because there are a couple of conditions. Right, so first thing that you need to know is obviously that you do need 2 apocalypses on your team, or if you're playing some sort of team mode, you can use your teammates apocalypse who can place these pre-fights horsemen for you for the fight. But there is another very important thing if you want to double up on these abilities, and that is that you need to apply them in separate fights. That means you need to make whatever mutant you have decided to make Horseman of Apocalypse first, and then in the following fight, or however many fights later, you need to apply the second one. You cannot try to apply 2 pre-fights for the same fight. Only one will register, or so I'm told. So basically, get your charges in your apocalypse, make somebody a horseman, finish the fight with them, and then on the next fight, or any of your next fights, you can activate that ability again and make the said mutant a horseman of apocalypse. The important bit is that it only works for one fight. It only works for the fight where you have applied the second set of horseman ability. As you enter it, you will have 2 prowesses, you will have 2 of everything for that fight only. And then any subsequent fights, you will just have the standard single Horseman of Apocalypse ability. And again, I absolutely understand that this is not something you will do every day. I absolutely understand that this is not something that is going to be game breaking or game changing. And I generally do not even know if it is a bug or how the interaction works. But I do know that it is possible, and I do know that it's fairly intriguing and interesting at the very least. And I definitely had fun messing about with Wolverine, who can slash like a crazy dude. So either way, again, huge shout out to White Mummy, an awesome guy. He's done a bunch of thumbnails for me, a bunch of channel art, and has been very, very helpful guy for the channel. And he's from New Nation, very strong alliance. And yeah, that is pretty much it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know if you want to try, because it's kind of interesting. And yeah, that is about it, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about